Hey everybody, it's Diesel2 and it's time for another Cowardly Dog Halloween video. And today we're going to be talking about the Quack Balloon, Windmill Vandals, the Uncommon Cold, and Farmer Hunter, and Farmer Hunter, Farmer Hunted. So, the Quack Balloon is an episode with the Quack, yet again, up to his old antics. This time, well, let me go and get into the explanation here. So, in this episode, Muriel is making cookies, and I think it's French cookies or something like that. But see, and Eustace has lost his glasses, so he can't see anything. So Muriel starts, having Curtis take a couple of tons of butter, and then of course he tells her, Courage, to go help Eustace find his glasses. And while that happens, the Quack, as you can see at the beginning of the episode, has switched out the cookbook that she was using for Sweetest cookbook. And what they need is rare Swedish vinegar, which can only be found in Sweden. So the Quack is seen in his hot air balloon, and he takes Muriel along with him to teach her how to bungee jump with sweet vinegar, or so she thinks. So, Curtis and Eustace come outside, and he says, and she wants them to go along. He's like, and Eustace says, "I'm not going anywhere without my glasses. I'm not going anywhere with my glasses." And of course, the Quack tells him there's only room for two, so they'll have to stay behind. So the Quack takes up in the balloon, and he harnesses her to a bungee cord. Muriel's a bungee cord, and makes a plummet to almost plummet to a doom. But bungee cords. I don't trust bungee jumping. I'm afraid that something's going to snap, obviously. And I have vertigo. So, yeah. So, every time they stop somewhere, he drops her from the top to get her ready to basically steal money. That's his plan. You see, there's a big piggy bank. And inside that piggy bank is money. And I mean a ton of it. Now, if you know the Quack from the last couple of episodes, he wants nothing to do with the plot and anything that besides money. So, they go, there's a scene where she, at the beginning, he's like, "Let's get past the terror. This is actually not too bad." And so they get to, the Swedish piggy bank. And the same soldiers from the past couple of episodes are seen yet again protecting the piggy bank. And of course, they're fighting again. So, anyway, the Quack drops into there, and he's like, actually before that he says, "The rare Swedish vinegar is in the piggy bank," and she has to get all the cash out of there, which he calls leaves. So he drops her in, she starts pulling up money, drops her in, pulls up money, and eventually he's like, "I got all the money out, and there's no I did not see a bit of Swedish vinegar." And, of course, once all the money's out, the Quack drops her again. And before... And, of course, the two soldiers, are hear the alarm go off. And so they start shooting. And the Quack has a saw. He starts sawing the bouncing cord. But they fire on the balloon, and Eustace gets shot out of there. And he finds his glasses. Guess where he finds it in? The toilet. And then, obviously, Courage gets out of the cannon, which he wanted to happen so we could get burial. And what happens then is they find where Swedish vinegar. Obviously, we will not see the Quack until straight out of nowhere, Courage meets Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. Alright, so that means that was the last episode that we see the Quack until the movie. Alright, the next episode we're going to talk about is Windmill Vandals. Now, I don't understand the concept of this. I mean, it's a good episode, but let me talk about the episode, and then I'll tell you why it makes no sense. I mean, I get it's a cartoon, but there's one thing that doesn't make sense in the episode. So, Eustace is upstairs watching a TV while Muriel and Courage are both making a statue of him. And the windmill stops working. And obviously, since the windmill is not working, then, it's all powering the whole house. And Eustace has to go up there and fix it. But as this is happening, these Vandals, I guess kind of like Vikings or something, and because he got the Vikings hats, so they come out every time the windmill stops. But when it starts up again, they disappear. Here is my problem. Here's my question. Okay, how many times have we seen that windmill be destroyed or taken out? Why hasn't the Vandals come out? I guess I'm delving too deep into this, but if this if this is happening now, why hasn't it happened before? So, apparently, Courage has to keep it up there because, Eustace, he has his socket wrench with him, and he tells him to keep it there until he comes back with the part. And, obviously, when it stops again, the Vandals come out. Eventually, Courage sees these... It accidentally rips a piece of the windmill off, and it shows a symbol. And so he takes pictures of them. And once he gets back up, he starts snapping pictures and he shows it to the computer, which tells the story of a farmer and a bunch of Vandals who built a water mill. The Vandals did. But the farmer, being the smart one, knowing that the water's going to dry up eventually, made a windmill. And the Vandals hated that, so they wanted to destroy that windmill. So every time the windmill stops, they come back. Why? Because the farmer from back then has drawn magical symbols. And I'll tell you what those magical symbols are in a minute. So, eventually they fight the Vandals, and they go back out. And Kurtz, at one point, has to keep the windmill going because if he doesn't, the Vandals will come back. And so they have to fix the windmill, but the windmill breaks, and Eustace loses his head. Yeah, I know. They don't show it on screen, but you can see with his head, and he's not dead because this is a cartoon. So Eustace, his body breaks it with his vents, the windmill with his vents. So the windmill is now broke again. Why did this never happen before? It's beyond me. So, it's a good episode. Just some differences, So, anyway, Muriel loses her head and so does Courage. And they swap bodies, and there's a scene in the episode where Eustace, Eustace puts his head on Courage's body, now I'm a stupid dog. And so they swap the heads back and they rebuild the windmill, and the windmill starts spinning after they fix it, and the magic symbols are the farmer from back then. And of course, they all fall. I don't remember what happened, but they all get their heads off again by the end of the episode. Okay, so the next episode is the Uncommon Cold. So, in this episode, Muriel has a very bad cold. I mean, that's why it's called, it is uncommon. That's why it's called the Uncommon Cold, because it's big. It's a cartoon, so you gotta expect a big sneeze coming out of a cartoon character. However, this cold is uncommon because it's a message from a group of slugs that are being held by a snake called Big Bayou. So, yes, they tell Kurtz the only way to cure Muriel is if they come out and help them. So, they go out there and help them, and they go, they follow the instructions of the slugs who tell them that they don't know how to cure Muriel. But because only Big Bayou has a book that they stole the piece of paper from to kind of give out the message. So they tell Kurtz to go find Big Bayou's book of magic spells. So he does. And this is a silly episode. I'll tell you why in a minute. So in this, when he goes out, Big Bayou is full of himself. I mean, he loves himself, and the snake. He sheds his skin, and he makes they make statues out of his skin. So, Courage, when Big Bayou leaves, tries to get into his house, but he can't. So he goes through the window, and he finds 2 books. But then he finally finds the book that he needs to make the cure. So he goes back, flips through the pages, and then he sees that he has to act like a chicken to make the cure. Why? I don't know. Apparently, according to this, and there's another episode coming up that really doesn't make sense either. We'll talk about that when it comes. But and it's the same thing, but it's a different way they occurs them. So he lays an egg and gives it to Muriel, and that's the cure. So Courage looks at the book, and Big Value, I keep wanting to call him Value Billy. Don't ask me why. I got a thing for that game. So what happens next is he goes out, starts reading how to make the fake snakes do what he wants, and that is to get Big Bayou to give him venom because he's a venomous snake. So he does. So he gets Big Bayou to bite the book, and he sprays venom on all his statues, and then Kurt turns them on him, and then they go home after Muriel rescues them all. So, and now Eustace has the uncommon cold, and guess what? It's Big Bayou. Alright, the last episode is Farmer Hunted. This is a crazy episode. Oh, by the way, at the end of that episode, Curtis does the same thing to, cure Eustace. And we don't know if he cured him or not. So, in this episode, Farmer Hunted, Eustace hears about the big deer contest. And he first sees it on the TV, and then he sees it on a flyer coming across the sky. And then we see again Horst. I said Horace. Horst. I looked it up. And him and his brother, it's his big brother. And Horst has never liked Eustace. He always calls him useless, not Eustace. And he has this big gun he likes to call Big Bob. And so what happens is we get a little cutscene of where he's remembering his childhood. And Horst tells him, "You can't go hunting with me. You're just a..." I don't remember what he says, but he basically... I'm a hunter, by the way. You can tell by my head back there. But in this episode, there's a few things that they kind of get wrong. First of all, you don't take a dog out hunting. It's illegal. Deer hunting, for duck hunting it's fine. Deer hunting it's not. So he goes out and takes Big Bob with him. And Courage. So they sleep that night out in the open, and that's okay because some people do that. So Courage wakes up and he hears this commotion from after getting kicked by Eustace, and it's the deer family having fun, and they're playing tag. It's kind of cute. And then Eustace sees this and sees this opportunity to use Big Bob, which is a laser gun. And he starts shooting at them. And the deer, the big deer, decides he's had enough and decides to bring out his own Big Bob. He goes, "Deer's gotta do what deer's gotta do." He goes hunting for Eustace. So um, he he gets this. He goes hunting for Eustace with this big gun, and there's a scene. They, he keeps firing at him, and there's a scene with this tiger. After Eustace falls into the trap, he goes, "Well, that was a traumatic experience. I'm over it." And so Courage is Eustace down there, and Big Deer has his gun pointed at him. And Courage, tries to kind of make him, say, I guess he's trying to tell him that you're doing the exact same thing that the hunter's doing. And so he proposes a game show, which we'll talk about in a minute. So he decides to go ahead and do it, and they finally go into the game show, and it's called Hunt for Knowledge. I would love to play a game show like this. This looks kind of fun. So, Hunt for Knowledge is hunter versus deer, and the first question is about. It's all done with pictures. First one is a Big Dipper, which Eustace says is a bunch of dots. And of course, the deer answers correctly. By the way, he interrupts him, even though the deer buzzed in before he did. And so, then the last question is about a globe. And this could have been, the globe of the Earth. He could have even said globe. But I guess this is, what is a model of. And Eustace goes, "That's a bowling ball." And the deer tells him it's the Earth. So Eustace decides he's had enough, and he fires the big bomb, and it misses the deer, and Courage is "Roar!" And this big bear, he think, he shot something. He did shoot something. And it is, and I'll tell you, Big Bear comes out, and he is so mad. He goes, "Now who went and saw my lollipop? And it's got a big hole in it." And the old boy goes, "The hunter!" By the way, there's a few animals that we've seen before. Like, for example, there's the two raccoons we saw in the forest, or whatever it was called, and then there was the sheep from The Sandman Sleeps. And Eustace takes the deer's antlers off and puts them on himself, and then puts his hat on the deer and goes, "I'm not no hunter. I'm a deer. Yeah, I'm Eustace the deer." And he goes out and makes the biggest mistake any hunter should never do. If you've watched 1,000 Ways to Die, don't dress yourself in the animal you just killed. And at the end of the episode, so on one, and it's Eustace. Alright, so that is the end of today's episode. Today's 2 episodes. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing by a swamp. We're going to talk about why a swamp monster, goat paint, Muriel blows up, and profiles of courage. And of course, don't forget that Thursday, we're going to be doing a 2-parter and 2 other parts. So, in another episode. So, like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys tomorrow.